Welcome back everyone, we have Nikketa's banner dropping today. That means we are getting both the Burn and Hydro Hyper DPS back to back. Which is a bummer cause the last few banners recently all have been excellent meta characters and not a lot of us have much savings anymore. And how does that affect the pulling priority for Nikketa for you? We already got two established top tier meta comps being the full Burn team and the Hydro Corrosion team. So where does Nikketa fit in there? And how much investments is required? We are gonna take a look at her kit, her optimal dupe breakpoints and team compositions to decide if she is worth pulling for your account. Before jumping into the full review though, I do want to remind you that you don't really need any particular character to succeed in the current endgame, especially if you already have two endgame teams built. At that point, I would always suggest to highly prioritize pulling for waifus over meta and go for characters you want to have in your dorm. That being said, without further ado, let's jump into Nikketa's review from a meta perspective and check out her kit strength together, shall we? Okay, as always, starting with the TLDR discussion, Nikketa is a sniper rifle wielding Hydro DPS who excels at single target burst damage. She, along with her pet dog Kulik, are considered to be the tier 0 Hydro Hyper DPS. While Kulik specializes in counter-attacking enemies, Nikketa also has follow-up attacks after Kulik built into her kit. This synergy between the two is what makes them what they are. Being the Hyper DPS for Hydro team, she is in some ways similar to the Burn Hyper DPS Chihuahua in the sense that she is very much busted at V6. But unlike Chihuahua, Nikketa is really good at V0 and worth getting for F2Ps and anyone alike, especially when combined with Springfield V1+. Nikketa is one of the best V0 single target DPS in this game right now. Nikketa and Springfield are a complete Hydro duo by themselves, just like Tololo plus Springfield before. So if you didn't build your Tololo, Nikketa is definitely the upgrade to her that you want to use. But also, why wouldn't you build Tololo? She is free and on high dupe she is a tier 0 DPS as well. So please build your Tololo, and if you do have a build Tololo that you use, just add Nikketa to the team with Springfield and you now have a 3 Hydro power core that's pretty much a self-sufficient team by themselves. The core mechanism of Nikketa revolves around her dog's counterattacks and her following up with her ults, as we mentioned before. So the way you want to maximize her damage is to increase the number of counterattacks and follow-ups. It's that simple. So although V0 is absolutely fine to stop at and V6 being giga busted, V3 does provide a very nice stopping point for dupes with a significant damage boost that makes it worthwhile. I do want to quickly mention that V1 has both positives and negatives for Nikketa, so you gotta be cautious if you want to go for that. We'll learn more in the Vertebrae details section, but in my opinion for starter, I think V0 is the best place to stay at for now. Another huge positive for Nikketa that kinda makes her good for F2Ps is that she doesn't really need her signature weapon at all. In fact, the free SOP SSR Samosek is recommended over her signature most of the times, which is great. And if you have Macchiato's signature sniper from before, then you can use that for Nikketa as well, which is even better for her. And that's kinda what the TLDR is for her, but now we go check out her skills to figure out her kit in details. At first glance, her skill kit might seem complex because of her summon, but trust me, it's one of the simple ones, so let's go. Starting with skill 1, it deploys or relocates her pet dog Kulik with a 9 tile range and does a 2 tile AoE physical damage. The physical damage is not the main point here, it's mainly used to deploy her dog. The enemies affected in the AoE though gets a Hydro debuff called Guilt that makes them take more Hydro damage from both Nikketa and Kulik. Nikketa also gains 1 Confectance Index. Let me talk a little about Kulik here. Since it's a summon, it does count as 1 more friendly unit on the field just like Papasa's City Warden. So in certain Gunsmoke boss fights, if there's any boss debuffs for having 6 friendly units on the field, this comes handy. Kulik has 1 passive skill where if enemies within a 3 tile radius of it deals damage, Kulik does a counter attack dealing Hydro damage equal to 80% attack and 2 stability damage. Kulik can only do 1 counter attack per turn. Nikketa's skill 2 is one of her core skills. It does nothing crazy, she can do a single target shot in 9 tile range, does 80% of attack as Hydro damage and applies the same guilt debuff for 2 turns as we mentioned before. This skill also gives her 2 Confectance Index, but most importantly gives her 1 extra command, which means she can't move but can do another attack after this one. And her ultimate is again pretty simple, she can again do a single target Hydro damage in 9 tile range with a 130% attack multiplier this time. If the target already has the guilt debuff from before, then it does 2 attacks and removes the guilt. The ultimate costs 3 competence index by default, but it consumes all of them and does more damage if it consumed more than 3 competence index. And finally her passive. If Kulik is on field, Nikketa's ult range is +1. Before Nikketa or Kulik launches a skill, both gets a new Hydro type buff called Clue, which can be stacked 5 times and increases the holder's damage by 5% when they are attacking out of their turn. If their attack exploits phase weakness, they gain 1 more Clue stack. And lastly, after Kulik does a counter attack, Nikketa follows up on the same target with her ultimate. This follow-up ult doesn't have any competence cost requirement. Moving on to our Vertebrae levels, beyond V0, I want to talk about 3 significant breakpoints V1, V3 and V6. Well, V1 isn't really a breakpoint, but it changes how her kit works slightly, which as mentioned before can be good or bad, depending on the situation. V1 affects her skill 2, it increases the damage multiplier by 20%, so far so good, but it also changes the extra command skill 2 gives to an extra action. What's the difference? Extra action counts as an extra turn. The upside is that now skill 2's 1 turn cooldown is refreshed within a single turn basically, so she can start with skill 2 followed by ult every turn of the game, which was previously not possible since her skill 2 won't be up every turn. This is good, so what's bad about it? The bad thing is that you have to be cautious about managing buffs on her more efficiently, since turn-based buffs will now run out on her faster, which can decrease her damage output in some turns. So yes, it's kinda a double-edged sword that you have to manage carefully and manually, and isn't really recommended to go for and stop there for this reason, unless you plan to go up to at least V3 or you are trying to max her. Then it's not really that significant in the context. Her V3 gives 1 more counter attack to Kulik per turn and also doubles the maximum stack limit of the Clue buff to 10. This one directly translates to 1 more follow-up ult per round from the extra counter attack and also doubling the extra damage from the out of turn attacks. This is a significant boost and worth the upgrade. V6 increases the extra ult damage from the extra consumed competence indexes to 10% and also it no longer removes the guild debuff after the 2x ult shots, which means every ult will do 2x shots from now instead of just the first one, which is again huge in the context of her damage increase. Let's talk about her weapon choices now. The 2 best weapons for her are the Macchiato's signature sniper and then the free SOP SSR one Samosek. Bittersweet Caramel suits Nikketa perfectly with her out of turn attack synergy as well as the defense ignore improves the damage output. And Samosek is the default F2P choice for any sniper DPS in general. Especially since Macchiato and Nikketa doesn't usually go together in the same team, although you definitely can, they can share the same sniper between them efficiently. As for a signature weapon, while it gives good damage boost, the lack of critical damage buffs or the ult only restriction doesn't make it that worthwhile above the pre option in terms of total damage, so that's why it's not really recommended to go for it right away. Now moving on to her build, the weapon attachment set choice as always gonna be either the Hydro Boost set or the Phase Strike set, whichever you have a good set for. Phase Strike is the better universal choice overall since it makes your farming efforts a lot less to build a perfect set that can be used by multiple units on multiple teams. The substats priority is attack percentage then flat attack then crit rate followed by crit damage percentage, standard DPS stuff. You wanna target around 3000 plus attack, 70% plus crit rate and 165% plus crit damage for an endgame full build. Her best in slot fixed keys are Righteous Doll to gain more competence indexes, Messenger of Justice to do more stability damage, and Just Deserts to put Hydro Tiles with her skill 1. If you are using Springfield without her signature weapon in your team, you can also use the fixed key Oppressive Air on Nikketa to compensate, which gives her attack boost with the Clue buff. As for the common keys, besides her own, she can use Dasebnaya, Mosin Nagant and Ulrid's common keys or any attack percentage and crit percentage keys. Her skill rotations differ slightly between her V0 and V1+, as the extra command becoming an extra action at V1 from her skill 2 does change the order a bit. At V0, you will usually alternate between skill 1 in one turn and skill 2 followed by ult on the next turn for the whole fight. But at V1+, you can start with skill 2 every turn. While you do want to deploy your dog with skill 1 the very first turn, you can just use skill 2 and ult from then on every turn. As for our team synergy, she definitely belongs to the Hydro team as the Hydro Hyper DPS, and that means primarily Springfield. Nikketa and Springfield can be used as the Hydro duo along with a Corrosion trio or a Burn trio to form powerful hybrid teams. But also, as I mentioned in the beginning, why wouldn't you build and use Tololo? so that you have Nikketa, Tololo and Springfield as the Hydro trio. This is the most powerful Hydro core in the game. And just like before, your best bet to add to this team would be either a Corrosion duo or a Burn duo. While you can build a full Hydro team with, let's say, Jaui and Sabrina, it will be a significantly weaker option than the hybrid team choices. Okay, that sums up all of our details and we have reached the final recommendation now. In my opinion, V0 Nikketa is the best and most recommended sweet spot to stop pulling for almost everyone, especially F2Ps. If you are low on resources or want to not spend or save, you definitely can skip since you don't need her technically to build a meta endgame team. We already got 2 good choices now. But a V0 investment is very efficient with regard to the return on investment from her damage output, so it's highly recommended. As mentioned before, V1 isn't a breakpoint I would personally recommend to stop at, and the next breakpoint recommendation is at V3, followed by of course maxing her out at V6. And at no point do you need to pull for a signature weapon at all, just give her the free Samosek and she will keep slapping enemies. That's it. That concludes our review of Nikketa. She is pretty simple and a good recommendation for everyone. Let me know if you are willing to pull or you are skipping to save for someone else. If you enjoyed this video and found it helpful, feel free to drop a like and subscribe, and if you want to directly show your support, you always have the option to join the channel membership or send a super thanks. Thanks for watching, stay tuned for more Girls Frontline 2 content and I will catch you then. Goodbye.